Proverbs 11:16 says, "A gracious woman gets honor." Motherhood is an honorable profession. It calls for courage and self-sacrifice. For Sharon Ennis, the challenges were greater than she could possibly have imagined. Her first book, Gabby's Gift, was born out of her mother's journal. It is an emotional ride and a very authentic journey. And what a treat to have with us today. Oh boy, ready for some eye candy? Mother and daughter, Sharon and Gabby, are here. Welcome, girls.
Thank you for having us.
Gabby, I hope I can just get something updated right now because you just had a birthday. What birthday was it? How many did you turn?
5.
5? And you had a very special theme for your birthday. What was the theme? What did the little girls come dressed as?
Rapunzel.
Rapunzels. And I'll bet some other princesses too. Did you have a tiara for your birthday? It almost looks like a tiara today. How many girls, Mom?
15 princesses.
Wow.
Under one roof.
What an experience.
It was. It was great. It was my first time putting on a princess party. I was a little bit nervous, but everything went very well in 2 hours.
It comes so naturally to them, doesn't
my goodness,
it?
it's hilarious. We had so much fun. We even did limbo. It was great.
Now, Sharon, you were already a very experienced mom before Gabby came along. 2 boys.
Yes, 2 boys. You know what? And the thing is, I grew up as an only child, so I never grew up around a lot of children. So when I had my first child, I did not know what to do. I didn't know how to change a diaper. It was my husband who taught me how to change my son's diaper. So, you know, it comes naturally when you give birth, but I was a little bit nervous before. But 2 boys, it was great having the 2 boys because it kind of prepared me for the girl.
Which is a different experience, whatever
Yes.
the health condition.
Exactly.
But the surprise was so big. And I need you to take us back to April 26th, 2007.
Well, that was a day that still lives on in my mind. I try very hard to forget, but when something so powerful happens in your life, it's very hard to forget it, no matter how much you want to not remember certain facts. But it was a day that I thought it was a normal day. It was a normal day. I picked up the 2 boys from daycare, and we went into labor. I gave birth at home under the midwives, which was great. Normal pregnancy. Normal labor pains, everything was normal. Gave birth, and they wrapped her up, put her on my chest. Again, everything was normal. She was about 5 pounds when she was born, cutest little thing. And I was so relieved not to be pregnant anymore.
In that moment.
In that moment.
Woo.
I was like, we're done. We are done. We're not doing this again. We have 3 kids now, we're done. So it wasn't until the midwives took Gabrielle from me afterwards, after the mother-daughter bonding. And they examined her. And then they said something that I had no idea what it was. And they said, Sharon, your daughter has spina bifida. Again, I looked back and I looked at her and she was on her side. And you can actually see the lesion, the opening at her tailbone. And it was
an open wound.
Yeah, it was big like a loony, I would say. And it was pretty bloody and you could see the nerves bulging in and out as she was crying. And I had no idea what I was staring at. So I just thought, okay, we're just going to go to the hospital, sew it up.
Sew that hole up.
And come back home. But it wasn't until we went to Sick Kids that our reality began. They told us everything. And that's when it hit home.
She had 2 surgeries in the first week of life.
Yes, that was tough because she was so small. I'm thinking, my goodness, these doctors are going to bring her in the OR, sew her up. I was just devastated.
This is Gabby on the cover.
Yes.
Can we get that shot again? At what point was this photo taken?
That was after Sick Kids, when she came home, as soon as she came home.
So she's how old here?
She's probably like a week and a couple of days.
That is brand new little baby, just fitting in 2 palms.
That's my husband's hands.
Your dear husband was a calming influence in what would be a very traumatic journey. Now, I've asked permission to read this because little ears are here, but little ears have heard this before. Can I read this? When I was at Sick Kids with Gabby, I would think about dropping her from the 5th floor balcony or allowing us to be victims of a fatal car accident. Anything to end the pain for both Gabrielle and myself. I was afraid of being judged and called a bad mother for even thinking them. Only God knew my heart. Looking at you both today, it's always hard as we live life forward, we understand it in reverse. Yes. And to look at you both today, it's until you read the book, it's hard to identify with the trauma that this represented, particularly for you, Mom.
Yes, it's sad that I had a dark moment, or moments. It all happened at Sick Kids because everything happened so fast. Sick Kids is a wonderful place, but again, when you've never been there, it was very foreign, it's so big. And I felt scared. So when there were times when she came out of recovery and I would hold her, honestly, that part that you read, I will never forget it, on the 5th floor. You look down, you see the food court. I just thought I could end this right now and I can have another child right afterwards. I can just erase this because that's what I wanted. I wanted it gone. I wanted the condition, spina bifida, out of our lives. I didn't ask for it. I didn't call upon it. This wasn't part of my plan. So that is why I went into a dark moment, because I felt, you know what? I need to do something here. I felt like God was not close to me at that point in time. Even though I grew up in the church, I loved the Lord, I did everything right, according to my plan, I did everything right. So why did I had to be with this burden? Why did I have to be have a child that was born with this condition? So being in that dark moment, so many things go through your mind, so many emotions that you feel, you pull away. You pull away from God. Even though He's still there, you pull away. And it's hard sometimes to even try and get back there. But thank the Lord for family, friends, praying friends, because when I couldn't pray, they prayed for me. They had more faith than me at that time. So,
you let go of God, but He didn't let go of you.
Isn't that something? And you're right. I wish I could write that book in reverse, because if all the things that I know now, it's like, it's amazing that the miracles that God has shown me over the 5 years in Gabrielle's life.
This little girl had therapy at 7 weeks old.
Yes.
So she was already being adjusted to the new realities. I mean, this is just an interesting little tip. Castor oil on scar tissue. Does everybody know about that?
You know what? It's something. Someone read the book, and she emailed me saying she tried the same thing on her daughter who has spina bifida, because she never knew about that, and I never knew about that. But you know, it did work.
Pretty amazing
stuff.
stuff.
Yeah, it did. It just flattened out the scar. It was just, yeah.
What does Gabby live with today? She's in regular school,
yes.
JK.
Amen.
Does she have physical pain?
Gabrielle's in pain every day
Really?
Because of her deficiencies. So the lesion, the opening of her spine, was located right at her tailbone. So anything from that point down is in question.
What do you mean in question?
So Gabrielle really has...
Mobility?
She does have mobility. Some children do not, because with spina bifida...
There's a whole range
Exactly,
of
there's different levels.
limitations.
She was born with the most severe form of spina bifida.
Really?
Yes. And
you wouldn't know it.
Exactly, you wouldn't know it just by looking at her. But the way that she walks and the way that we take care of her behind the scenes, you'll know. So she has issues with bladder and bowels. We have to catheterize her every 4 hours. So she's unable to know when she has to go to the washroom. So we have to manually get her urine out.
How does that work with school?
They have an EA there that does it. I am so grateful for that you know, we got that set up. So, and she's comfortable with that, because I was a little bit nervous about that, having someone to take care of her that way. But the lady's really, really awesome, and it's been a great experience. So taking care of her at school is no issue right there, but it's great. She does have some issues with her feet, loss of sensation in her legs. So the way she walks, you'll see when she walks how it affects her.
Those feet have had quite a special journey, and we have photographs that chronicle the journey of Gabby's feet. Let's go to those pictures. Well, this is how early?
Yeah, that's day one, right when we got to Sick Kids, and they had to put a bandage over the lesion because you cannot have it exposed. And that was just prepping her to go to surgery.
Little 5-pounder on her way to surgery.
So that's her feet right there. So Gabrielle's unable to point her foot down because of the nerve damage due to spina bifida. She can only walk on her heels and only flex upwards.
Doesn't keep the black patent shoes with pretty bows away, though. What's happening here?
So at maybe a little bit after a year, she was fitted for AFOs. She wasn't walking yet, so they hope that
AFOs?
AFOs. Children wear them. They're braces.
What is that?
I don't know the actual.
That's okay. We're looking at the AFO, not to be confused with UFOs. Okay.
So it's supposed to help her walk, and they tried that for her. And
she wears those still?
No.
No.
That was the first time she wore them. And she was trying them through her therapies. She wasn't trying to walk with them. When we took off the AFOs, that is when she started showing progress. She's never worn AFOs since.
Wow. Wow. I bet there are lots of wows that we won't have time for today. Let's look. I think her dedication is the next picture in the gown you wore 35 years earlier,
That's
Sharon.
my outfit. I couldn't put it on the boys, so I'm thankful that I had the girl to put it on.
And she's just 3 months old here. Here's the family picture. And maybe the first surprise is that all the demands of a special needs child didn't keep you from a 4th child and a boy. Noah.
Noah is the last one. Noah's the surprise. Noah was the surprise. And it's funny how Noah means, we researched his name, it means bring comfort and delight. And he does bring comfort to us. He's such a joy. Yes.
Easy care.
Easy
God
care.
knows.
God knows, because he knows I have to put so much care into her that all my time goes into Gabrielle.
Where would that hockey team be without the princess?
Exactly.
Fantastic. And your children's now ages are?
2 years apart. So we have 8, 6, 5, and 3.
Okay, and did we mention the other boys' names?
Isaiah and Micah.
And Micah.
Yes.
What great names.
Yes.
What a beautiful family. And we've got to mention, in the midst of all this, somehow, your husband decided he wanted to be a doctor.
That was crazy. That just killed me. But you know what? He had to do it. He was accepted into medical school 5 months after Gabrielle was born. I did not want him to leave because I did not want to be alone. I was so scared. How am I going to take care of 3 children, especially one child being special needs? But he had to do it, because if he stayed home, I think I would have felt bad too, because I would have been selfish. It would have been selfish of me.
And Maurice is in his first year residency.
Look at that. Time flew.
Unbelievable.
And he's in his first year residency. He's a doctor. But the great thing about it is that the Lord has really blessed us over the time, because every weekend while he was away at Queens, he was home. He drove back to be with us, to be her father, and then go back and study and be the student.
Tell you what, it's always too soon to give up. You got to wait for it. God's goodies don't all roll out at once. We have to hold on. He'll take us through if we can stand the pull. One more sacrifice you made, Mom, with this precious princess. You almost became one of our reporters.
Yes.
Just tell us the timing of that.
2007.
You'd worked at CTV for 6 years.
Yes. CTV, working at CTV. And in May of 2007, I came to Crossroads for my interview. I was so excited. And then I got the job. And would you believe, that day that they called me, Crossroads called me to tell me, you got the job, you're going to be our reporter. I got a call before that. It was from my doctor saying, yeah, you're pregnant. And it was with Gabby. So when I hung up with the doctor, like seconds later, the phone rang and it was Crossroads saying, you got the job. And I said, guys, I just found out I'm pregnant.
I have a different job.
Yes.
And one that thankfully, with God's help, your husband and so many praying, has turned into something very beautiful. Gabby, thank you for taking the day off school today. Do you go to school in the morning?
Yes.
Thank you for coming and being with us today, because it is a joy to see you. You have been a beautiful encouragement for us today. Will you come and visit us again?
Yes.
Your mommy still might work here someday. You never know.
Or Gabby maybe one day.
This too.
There you go.
And Gabby's gift could be a gift to your life. It's at our e-store. Do you know about our e-store? It's cooking there. Here's what you need. Crossroads.ca or 1-800-265-3100 to get this marvelous journal from a mother's heart. Right on time for Mother's Day.
Yes.
Thanks, girls.
Thank you for having us. Thank you.
Please do stay with us. We'll be back after this.